So I just want to say got it, right? Yeah, I'll click on it's prompted me.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. I just hit got it. Okay. So name that company or organization. We're going to show some slides. Don't raise your hand. Just as soon as you see it, somebody's standing at the door. We'll let this person come in. All right. So as soon as you see the graphic, without raising your hand or anything, just say the name of the company or the organization. Okay, ready? Go. Okay. Okay, next. Next.
Chili's.
Yep. That was said with a lot of excitement over there. There we go. Okay, next.
Apple.
Okay.
McDonald's.
Yep.
TikTok.
Yep. Best for last.
I think that's level.
Okay, so, but did you notice on every one of those graphics, not one company was mentioned, not one company name was written, but everybody in here got it without hesitation. That's the power of a good graphic, a good design, and that's the sort of things that companies look for when they're creating, when they're hiring companies like us. They want to be able to build a brand that communicates, not just says who they are, but is recognizable from a glance. And so that's the power of good graphics. You can see, like, for instance, for my own company, the little dog in the lower right-hand corner, the little iconic dog. That's what we use. So as an agency, how does an agency operate? Okay. Next slide. There's basically three components of the operation. There's a business, there's an account manager, and then there's a creative. So, for instance, if Ms. Turner is the business, she might contact my company, contact me as the account manager, says, hey, I've got a business. She's either starting it up or it's an ongoing business. I need some help with some graphic design work. I need some ads done, that sort of thing. All that is where we'll utilize graphics. What I'll do is I'll spend time with her understanding what her goals are, what her challenges are, her needs, the objectives, the vision that she has in the market. And we'll get into the details of this in a minute. And then from there, I take it to the creative. The creative, for example, will be like you guys. I'm taking it here and saying, okay, we've got a business that we're working on. We need some creative work. That's where the graphic design work starts from there. That's where we get into the artistic side from there. And then from there, we bring it back. We present it to the client. The client says it's on point, then great, we move forward. If not, we go in the revisions process. So that's basically an ad agency, simply, in its simplest form. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So we do this by doing what we call the client needs analysis. And that's asking a lot of different questions about the business, the target customer, the vision, that sort of thing. One of the first questions I'm going to ask is, are you branding or selling? When you think about it, those logos that we flashed up there, those are branding things. Those are ways to be remembered in the market. Everybody remember those icons. Or think about, like, when you're at the games over Wilkerson Sanderson Stadium, you have like Neighbors Roofing, you have Zeus Restoration, Toyota of Rockwall. You see their banners up there. There's nothing in those ads they're trying to sell you something. They're just trying to put their name and their image in your head so that when the time comes that you need something, you remember it. We call it top of mind awareness. So some of the things we're going to ask, some of the questions when it comes to branding is, what is your vision? How do you want the market to perceive you? You can think about this. I mean, we'll get into more details about the question asking, but I mean, the skull candy, that is going to be more appealing to your 18, 24, 35-year-old. Probably not the kind of logo you're going to put out to a 65-year-old, and vice versa. So that's where, when we're starting to ask about vision, take the McDonald's brand. It's just, it's very memorable. And then you have the McDonald's characters, which are just very kid and family friendly. So that's where we're getting into those types of details to really understand what the business is, what kind of brand they're trying to create in the market. Okay, next. Selling. Okay, is the graphics work? Do you guys gonna need this kind of work to sell something? Think about this. If like Taco Bell, I mean, Taco Bell has like that 99-cent menu right now, or Chipotle is doing the chicken al pastor special right now. And so the ads that they're creating there, they're trying to sell something. They're trying to, get your attention, entice the consumer to make a purchase. Or some of the ads that you scroll on your social media, you'll see it, and all of a sudden it's a cool ad. It's like click here, and then once you click there, then they're constantly trying to sell you and upsell you. So those are selling types of ads. So whether the product or services, that's one of the things that we'll need to know before we go to work. Okay. Next, who's your target customer? Every business has a desired customer that they want to get more of. Go ahead and go to the next slide. I say the target is defined as a profile of the customers your business works the best with and would like to have more of. I always tell the clients to say, if you were to close your eyes and just imagine that if you could spend every day of your business operation life dealing with this customer, everything would be perfect. Who would that be? Start to define who that is. Next. And we start to get to that by breaking it down. Demographics, age, are they in the 18 to 24 bracket? Are they in the 25, 35 bracket, 25, 54? Do they skew male? Do they skew female? Again, we'll go back to the skull candy. That is clearly, an image, and I'm sure in their marketing efforts, they're going more towards that 18 to 35-year-old. The graphics look cool. They know that the people that are wearing the headphones are going to be listening to hip hop and rock and roll and stuff like that. So it's going to skew a little bit younger and probably I would say probably leaning male. I would guess that their efforts go in that direction. So we want to know those things. We want to know what kind of income they have, because different types of businesses are going to attract different types of consumers. Some consumers are looking for the lowest price in town. Some consumers are looking for the best experience in town. Those are the things we want to know. We also want to know what their lifestyle is like. Do they live an active lifestyle? Do they play pickleball on the weekends? Do they go to the lake? Do they go to games? Or do they just like to hang out at home and read books? Or those are the things that we want to start to know so that we can understand how to best serve that target customer. And then geography, where do they live? Depending on how you guys as a creative team, you want to understand where they are so that you can design towards that. There's a project specifically that Jonathan and I worked on. A financial advisor here in the Rockwall area was adamant that he had a lighthouse in his logo because it was resembled the lighthouse at the harbor, and so on. Some businesses also, for targeting different campaigns, that sort of thing, some businesses might say, okay, we're the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or we're Texas, and some could even be international. Again, this is all information that we want to know before we get to work. And you as a designer would want to get to know so that you can understand, where the client's trying to take things. Okay, next. What motivates them? What gets them excited? I always like to say, what's their love language? People tend to purchase for different reasons. Think about this. If you're designing something and it's for a business that is trying to attract people who are looking for the lowest price in town, then you're going to design towards that. You'll maybe put, things of like, icons of like, cutting costs, or, you're going to, some of the wording and stuff is going to speak to lower prices. Or if you're advertising to somebody who's just looking for a high quality experience, then you're going to design towards that. I mean, a good example here locally is your typical McDonald's shopper or person that goes there. They know they're going to get a low price meal. It's going to be consistent. They know what they're going to get when they go there, and they know it's going to be relatively cheap. So that's an expectation. But then you have somebody that may be looking for the better dining experience. They know they're going to pay more, and they're okay with that. They want to pay more because they want that experience. And so you design towards that. You have two hungry people that both want to eat. One just wants to eat, the other wants an experience. Mission accomplished on both sides. So when you're designing, you want to think in terms of that. Some people are just looking for a great experience. And so you design towards that. I mean, think in terms of somebody is, looking to book a vacation or whatever. They're doing that for an experience. So when you're designing, you want to kind of demonstrate how a person can go from where they are right now into that awesome experience. Okay, next. And then how does your business meet their needs? What is it about your business that can best serve this customer that the other businesses can't? I love using, these examples. What sets you apart? What's your target? Why would your target choose your business over the competitors? What's your unique selling proposition? I love using this example when it comes to like home services around the house. I don't like dealing with that stuff, so I have my preferred vendors. I probably pay a little bit more for them, but they always get the job done. They get it done right. I got a plumbing company that just they're awesome. I know that all I have to do is pick up the phone and call. So that's a unique selling proposition to them, where someone else might say, okay, well, shop 3 others and then call me and I'll guarantee the lowest price. They're going to attract the person who's going to look for the lowest price and maybe not be too picky about the service experience. Okay, next. What are the goals of the campaign? And that's where you're getting into the client's business. And those goals could be anything. It could be, I want to grow my business 10% year over year, or I want to tap into this market of consumers that I haven't hit yet. That's just a conversation between us and the business so that we can understand where they're wanting to take theirs. Next. What's the biggest challenges? Every business faces challenges. We want to know what their challenges are. Everybody has headwinds. It could be competition. It could be weather. It could be, you name it. Everybody, it could be elections. Businesses get phased by elections. Those are challenges that they come up with. So we want to know what those things are so that we can operate accordingly. Next. And then from here, we start researching in the market and we determine the best advertising medium and, where the business can get a competitive edge in the marketplace. And then we move forward with the campaign once everything's approved. Next. Graphics at work. Just go through real quick some of the stuff that we've done here locally in the market and where some of the stuff that you're learning in the class, how it would apply. Here's a local website that we built. Designed, built it. We manage this. We do the rankings for it. Next. Another website that we built. Again, graphics at work.
Did you guys do that logo?
We didn't do the logo. Next. Oasis Pickleball Club. We built their website. We designed it. We manage their website. We also send out their email newsletters. Again, as a graphic designer, this is the kind of work that you would do. Every month I have a newsletter that goes out. It can be both a branding or a selling piece because sometimes we tie a promotion to it. Next. Zeus Restoration. We do a lot of work with them. The ad you see on the left is a full page ad. That's going to be more of a branding ad that they do in the SMU program. Then the page on the right, that's marketing materials that they distribute out on the street. We design that. Again, graphic design work there. Next. Got their logo down in the field at SMU. They're sponsors of SMU Athletics. Next. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to open this up for questions and comments on anything. Yes, sir.
So with graphic design, is everything you do just designing things for different companies? It's like kind of all.
Well, Jonathan, I'm going to Did you catch that?
I
I'm
did
gonna let
not.
Jonathan run with this because he's the graphics guru. So go.
Yeah, Dan, would you repeat the question? I wasn't able to hear.
Can you say that question again?
Is when you're in a job for graphic design, is everything that you do just designing?
Is everything that we do just designing? As an agency, no. But am I answering your question on that? I think I am. Okay. Now, as an agency, graphic design is just part of what we do. We do a lot of website design and build. Got a couple of clients on the radio right now. Radio is where I started a long, long time ago, and I still like it. So I still do it. We do a lot of website, search engine optimization, Google ads, do some social media work. And then we've done music for clients, put music beds in some of their videos and that sort of thing, custom music, stuff like that. Go ahead.
How do you continue to find inspiration on different works after, like, if you were working for 5 years? I feel like I would run out of ideas for certain things. So how do you continue to find inspiration like that?
Okay. I'm going to give my 2 cents, and then Jonathan, you got to chime in on this one too, because it's a good question. But when you're doing a client needs analysis, everybody's different. Every business is different. So it's not that I guess they feed you the inspiration, so to speak, because it's not like you got this one, finite pool of ideas, because you may have some ideas that you work out of, but then you sit down with a client and then they have a whole different perspective. And now all of a sudden it's triggering new thoughts, new ideas towards the campaign. So I understand the question, but go ahead.
I would say that the answer is to live. Go out with your friends, have a good time, observe the world around you, and have experiences, and don't stop having experiences. Importantly, you might have heard the old expression that, writers should write about what they know. And the same is true of designers. I mean, we design the things that we see in the natural world. We design the ways that we feel. At our heart, at least at my heart, I consider myself, an artist first and a designer second. So there's a tremendous amount of, personal expression that goes into a graphic layout, that goes into a logo design, that goes into, even something as simple as a brochure. And and that gets pulled upon by, I went out with my friends over the weekend. We saw, Carmen at the Opera House, and it was just incredible. The Opera House had the most ornate architecture, and you can see it in the Greek Ionic columns and so on and so forth. And you see these things, you experience them, they inspire you, and then you get out a sketchpad, you start drawing, and it's reflected in what you do. But if you ever stop living, you just find yourself in, like, in a dungeon, you're in your office, you go nowhere, you do nothing, your work is going to get stale real quick.
Yeah. You'll never stop learning. I mean, I'm in my 50s now, and I still feel like I'm just getting started. So just continue new experiences and just always keep an open mind. And eventually some of the thoughts and ideas that you have right now, you'll outgrow them and you'll move on to new ones. And so you'll never stop growing, though. That's for sure. Go ahead.
Do you believe that anyone with a vision and anyone with an imagination for what they want to see in the world can be a graphic designer?
Sure. If that's what you want to do and that's what you believe you want to do, then yeah, nothing's stopping. If that's what you want to set out and do, make sure I'm understanding your question. If somebody just wants to be a graphic designer and they know in their heart, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to tell this story now. This is going to be the 3rd time I've told this, but the 21-year-old right out of graphic design art school, didn't even go to college, did what he liked designing what he called nifty ads for businesses. Cool little ads, and he just did it one-man operation. His wife kept his books for him, and people liked his work, and he kept doing it, and he kept doing more work. And then eventually a bank hired him, and the bank said, hey, we like the way you guys work, and why don't you hire a team to take care of business for us? So he did that. And then he kept doing more of that. And then all of a sudden companies like Motel 6 said, hey, we like what you're doing. Now all of a sudden now at this time, he's hiring a whole staff. So he's not just a graphic designer. They're doing TV, they're doing radio, they're doing all billboards, they're doing all kinds of stuff. This is back for the digital world. But then he's doing companies like Home Depot. Y'all have seen his work, the Chick-fil-A cows, the Eat More Chicken cows. It was his agency that started that campaign. And he was just like one of y'all, in the beginning, just somebody, making ads. So he ended up having he's retired now, but it was the largest independent ad agency in the country, right out of Dallas. So yeah, everybody starts somewhere. So go ahead.
Does it get harder over time as technology advances, or like they come up with new things,
That's an awesome question. Did you catch that, Jonathan?
I did not.
Does it get harder with technology as technology advances? So I'm going to say easier, but I'm going to defer to Jonathan because the technology provides more. And then Jonathan and I have some opinions on AI. I'm sure that he'd like to share as well. Go ahead.
Infinitely easier over time. When I started out, guys, you ever hear of cutting and pasting in Word and Excel and Adobe, everywhere cutting and pasting? I'm old enough at the ripe old age of 45 to remember, and that's not that much older than you, when you actually took scissors and cut paper and took paste, put it on the back of the paper, pasted onto another sheet, and then lit it up with a light board. So technology has made things infinitely easier, and it's going to continue to make things infinitely easier still. But the one caveat that I would say to that is, if you're not using the right tool for the right job, you can find that you make your own life a little bit more difficult. So if you're trying to hammer in screws because you haven't found the right tool, then you might find that it's a little bit harder. But generally speaking, your tools are going to enhance your abilities over and over and over again. They'll make you work smarter. They'll make you work faster.
Yeah. And so with the advancements in technology, go back to the 1970s when my dad was in radio, and they were saying with the birth of FM radio, AM radio is going to die because the FM signal is so clear. They couldn't have been more wrong in that, because the AM signal eventually, between news, talk, and sports, dominated, and everybody started listening more. AM radio, the AM is far more profitable than FM. So Jonathan and I are in our own careers have seen times where like digital technology is coming in, and it's a threat to everything else. So billboards were going to go away. Well, billboards are still there. Radio is still there. So the technology will just kind of bring its way in as just another player in the market, but I've yet to see it completely wipe anything out. But the one thing the revelation that I kind of had is that businesses are going to always need to communicate to their customers, always. And the technology changes over time. And so like with AI and everything that's coming into the market, the one thing that you always want to remember when it comes to being design and advertising and communicating is you always want to keep it human. And I say this all the time, is nothing speaks louder than truth, and nothing's more attractive than authenticity. So if you stick with the two of those, keeping everything, we're now at a point where, like, if I get an email that was sent to me that was AI projected, I can tell. And it gets passed around amongst peers. It's kind of like if anyone turns in AI homework, the teachers can tell. It's the same way. So AI generated content where it could be good for like inspiration and generating new ideas and everything. We'll get stuff that's sent to us that's AI. We always go back and we call humanize it. We go in and we break it back down, and we put the human element back into it. It's like in the radio days, the best ad campaigns that we ever did were the personality endorsements. We had the personality, and the personality's tripping over the live spots, and he's fumbling, over his words, because it was so human. That's why it made it so effective. So just always remember that part in the advancement of technology. It's going to keep advancing, but just keeping everything human and keeping it real is key. Any other questions?
I'm curious what program you use the most. Like,
Jonathan, you got that one.
Are you in what program?
What program I use the most on a daily basis is Microsoft Outlook. And no, I am not kidding. And I know it's not a design tool, but it is a communications tool. And a lot of what we do is communicating back and forth between creative and account management and between, clients and so forth. So that does happen a lot. As far as actual design tools, the tools that I use the most are Adobe Illustrator and Adobe InDesign.
So, do you use InDesign for websites, or do you use something else for that?
For websites, we usually build with WordPress.
Okay.
WordPress is probably the most universal. When I first started, we were building in Wix, and within 6 months, I was like, I need a bigger platform. So,
Thank you. Have a good lunch.
thank y'all.
Thanks, everybody.